We have the final update to I hired a private investigator to follow my cheating wife. All the updates are in this video up until real time. It's all here. We left off that they were headed to their preliminary negotiation. The next update came 10 days later, April 2nd, 2025. Last week, Emily's lawyer scheduled a preliminary negotiation with me and my lawyer that took place earlier today. They said that in the spirit of reconciliation, I could give Emily a list of questions about the affair. My lawyer said that they'd probably filter and curate her answers so she doesn't look guiltier than she already is, but that it's a good sign because they're admitting to the affair, but not to the degree of the affair. I decided to only ask one question: what happened on New Year's Eve? Be as detailed as possible. I don't know if you want those details. I'm only asking that because she knows I know she was with John, and I was wondering why she left in her car, went to John's house in his car, and then came home at roughly 1:30 a.m. in her car. I know they had a hotel reservation. I just wanted to use this as a test to see if she would tell me the truth, and it's also just something I'm curious about. The logistics of the thing. Same. I'm curious about it too. That's the only question I asked, and my lawyer laughed and said that it's probably not what they are expecting. Any other questions would be either pain shopping on my part or filtered through lawyers to remove all meaning. Since my mother-in-law and Emily were going to be there, I felt like I would be a coward if I didn't show up. Her lawyer asked permission to bring mother-in-law along because mother-in-law is Emily's emotional support animal, and I said yes. I told my lawyer I wouldn't be talking to them, and she said good, and that I didn't have to show up at all since it was kind of an informal meeting. But if I did show up, I would need to I would pay to be a fly on the wall in these negotiation meetings at this point. I'm very invested in this story. We had the negotiation today around 10 a.m. I was wearing the $3,000 suit Emily bought for me with John's money and the $500 loafers and $300 leather belt plus a $175 white silk shirt. Are you describing me right now? Yeah, right. This was $19, I think. Thanks for the gear, John. We sat there with my lawyer until Emily, mother-in-law, and her lawyer walked in. We introduced ourselves. I said, "Nice to meet you," to the lawyer out of reflex, and he smiled like, "No, you're not." Emily, as expected, looked well put together, but tired. She had her hair up in a carefully crafted blonde ponytail and was wearing a very short black dress with a suit jacket. Emily looked at me with a pained expression and did her fake smile. She was shaking slightly the whole time and taking those deep breaths periodically. She didn't say anything, but she sure looked like she wanted to. Emily's mom was dressed in a nice sundress, and she had done her makeup and hair. She smiled at me genuinely and reached for me, but then held back like she realized I was the enemy today. I gave her a little smile and a wave. My lawyer said that Emily's lawyer told her they had an offer for me. Emily's lawyer said yes and pulled a piece of paper out of his bag and read off the offer before handing it to my lawyer. Emily will reimburse the full amount of $10,000 to the Joint Marital Emergency Fund, previously withdrawn without my knowledge or consent, in 2020 to support her business during COVID. Emily will pay for my legal fees incurred to date and up to the conclusion of the reconciliation period. We will participate in 9 months of individual and couples counseling.
For what?
You're going your separate ways. To be fully paid for by Emily, selection of licensed professionals shall be mutually agreed upon. During the reconciliation period, cohabitation is encouraged but not mandatory. We agreed to maintain respectful communication and allow for flexibility in living arrangements in accordance with our well-being. If after 9 months I still want a divorce, I retain the reimbursed emergency fund. Emily waives any claim to spousal support. Emily affirms no interest or legal claim to my dad's resident or related property. All marital liquid assets, personal gifts, inherited property, and premarital assets shall remain separate. We agreed to enter into a mutual non-disparagement agreement, ensuring that neither party will make defamatory or damaging statements about the other in public, private or online forums. Has she found your Reddit account yet? In the event of the divorce, we agreed to proceed under a no-fault basis with mutual consent. Then the lawyer handed me an envelope and told me that it was the answered questions from Emily. There was only the one question. My lawyer said that we will take the offer under advisement and have an answer for them soon. I would be so shocked if he takes this offer. It's like the opposite of what he actually wants out of the situation. But first, we had some questions that we wanted to clear up. Emily's lawyer said they had some questions to clear up as well. My lawyer deferred to Emily's lawyer and told him to go ahead and ask his questions. Emily's lawyer asked me why I felt the need to put a GPS tracker on Emily's car. I had taken the VAR out of the car and left it out when I got the evidence I needed for Emily's affair. I kept the GPS tracker in the car for the PI, and I didn't have an opportunity to grab it later. It ran out of charge, I think, and I've let the subscription lapse, so the lawyer must have gotten the bright idea to examine Emily's car carefully. My lawyer interjected and said the car was owned jointly by the both of us, and I was the primary payer of the car note. I was concerned about Emily's well-being due to her unusual behavior, and that any and all evidence we have that will be submitted to the court has been legally obtained. Emily's lawyer acknowledged that and then asked me why I informed Bev's husband about her involvement with Emily's affair. How did I know that Bev was involved? Emily's lawyer told my lawyer that he'd like to hear it from me. Fortunately, my lawyer coached me about it, and I said that Emily had a history of leaning on Bev for support. When I saw signs something was wrong and noticed how Bev acted around me, I put two and two together. Her lawyer nodded. My lawyer told Emily's lawyer that we would need Emily's business financials as part of discovery, and he said they anticipated that and handed over a folder of papers. My lawyer then pulled out a folder of the credit card records and put it on the table and told Emily's side that we know she had a Visa Infinite card in her name that was billed to John's wedding venue business. Emily immediately tensed up and froze wide-eyed. Emily's mom's head snapped to stare at her. Emily's lawyer cleared his throat loudly and blinked like 700 times. My lawyer started reading off hotel charges and dates and asking why those charges and dates coincided with meetings with John in her appointment book. Emily started shaking and stuttering. Her lawyer instructed her to be silent. He said that they were not aware of any credit card and that they were not notified of this evidence. My lawyer told them that they were notified now and handed him another folder with copies of the credit card records. Oh, girl, come on now. You know they're gonna investigate. This is a lawsuit. My lawyer then talked about the charges in December that included the adult toy store and asked if she bought me and her family gifts with the card. Emily was breathing heavily and had a nice flop sweat forming. A nice flop sweat forming. I'm not even sure I can picture what that means. Not a good look, Emily. Not a good look at all. Her mom said, "What?" Emily's lawyer cleared his throat like a magician's assistant who knows the trick is about to fail. My lawyer then asked if Emily recognized the clothes I was wearing and if she could point out in the card records which charges coincided with them. Emily stood up and looked like she was about to bolt. Her lawyer looked annoyed. My lawyer then asked Emily about the $175 charge at the local toy superstore, and Emily's lawyer sighed heavily and said that he felt that the meeting had stopped being productive. Yeah, for your client, sure. Simultaneously, Emily's mom looked down at the floor, said, "Oh God," and then got up and left the room, her hand over her mouth. Knowing my mother-in-law, the "oh God" was more of a prayer than an expletive. At the same time, store was mentioned, Emily started going crazy and saying that she can explain. It's not what I think. Emily's shame has entered the chat. I just sat there. So I had taken Klonopin, I don't know this medication, an hour before the meeting on an empty stomach, and my stomach was now filing for divorce too. I hurried over to the small trash can, picked it up, and vomited into it. Not much came out other than the expensive bottled lawyer water I had drank earlier. Afterwards, I sat down casually like, nah, I didn't just vomit into a trash can. You're seeing things. While Emily was asking if I was sick and if I was okay, I ignored her. Emily started sobbing and apologizing and asked to speak with me privately while her lawyer comforted her awkwardly while shushing her and herding her out of the room, taking the folder and a copy of our offer that my lawyer launched at him as he was gathering his stuff. His face was the color of a tomato. I was still sitting there after the door shut, and my lawyer grabbed Emily's business records and told me that she was right. It would be a short meeting. As to our offer, here it is. No spousal support, no claim to my father's house. Emily reimbursed to me half the charges on John's card, excluding anything that benefited me, which would be around $15,000. No access to my investments or my retirement. Emily gives my lawyer a signed affidavit witness testimony saying that John knew she was married, actively encouraged the affair, tried to influence her decisions, including what to tell me, and then he exploited her emotionally. Mutual non-disparagement agreement. It's an at-fault divorce, with Emily's adultery being a matter of record. As to why we're asking for half the credit card charges, Emily didn't just have an affair, she used another man's money to finance a fantasy marriage with me. She bought me gifts, she paid our bills, covered up her affair by playing the role of the generous, successful spouse, while the guy she was sleeping with footed the bill. I didn't consent to that. That money wasn't just financial deception, it was emotional and manipulation. She used it to control the narrative, keep me off the scent, and make herself look like the ideal wife while she was cheating. So no, we're not saying John owes me anything. We're saying Emily does, because she used the money as a tool of fraud inside the marriage. The issue isn't who paid the card bill, it's who weaponized the money to destroy the marriage and who got played. As to what Emily said happened on New Year's Eve, it was something I couldn't have guessed. Oh my God, I've been waiting for this moment. I'm so excited. I want to know what the hell happened. It's not making sense with all the cars and stuff. Emily said she actually did go to the Bridezilla's get-together in order to make an appearance. She was invited but not required to be there, like she told me. She met John there because it was John who introduced her to the Bridezilla and got her that gig. John had a business relationship with Bridezilla's dad and was invited to the party as well. John and Emily left the venue separately, but met in the parking lot, and John gave Emily a ride to the hotel because she had been drinking. Instead of going to the hotel though, John insisted that they go to his home instead, despite her protests. She didn't want to antagonize him, so she went along with it, but complained the whole time about getting out of there by 11:30. They went to his place, he FaceTimed his wife, they had very unsatisfying in his bed, her words, and she drove him back to the venue where the New Year's Eve Bridezilla family get-together was, which was empty by the time. She drove home, having sobered up some. Now it makes sense with all the different cars and him FaceTiming his wife from home. Yep, it all adds up. Nauseating, but it's what I needed to hear. I had assumed they went to the hotel, had sex, and then again at his place. Turns out they skipped the hotel entirely. He drove her straight to his house under the guise of needing to FaceTime his wife at midnight. Romantic, right? Is it the truth? I don't know. She could tell me the sky is blue and I would still have to Google it. After reading it, I gave it to my lawyer and told her she could use it in Lisa's divorce from John if she wanted to. I don't know the legalities of the situation, so now we are in a holding pattern until they come back with anything regarding our offer or a new offer. Mini update that he posted with this one. Just got off the phone with mother-in-law. Their lawyer has dumped them. Surprise, surprise. Their lawyer was basically a friend of a family friend who was giving them a good deal. They were trying for reconciliation. Emily was not forthcoming about how deep in she was. Mother-in-law said that before our meeting yesterday, she just knew that it wasn't over between Emily and I, and that Emily was tricked and coerced by a big bad wolf into doing things that she would never do normally. After the meeting, she said the lawyer was kind of cold towards them and said that when they talk to their next lawyer, they need to tell them everything. He then dropped them as clients. Yeah, because they left out some big important details and records. Emily tried texting me and making lame excuses. She said that early on in their relationship, John sent her 2 store as an errand to pick up a toy. She wasn't specific about it, and I'm no contact with her, so I didn't ask. She loves me. We have plans. Can't I forgive her? I finally broke the silence and told her to direct all communication through my attorney, and I blocked her latest number. Good for you. I think that's best. Mother-in-law said she looked at the credit card statements and asked Emily about them, but Emily was just sobbing and crying and she didn't want to talk about it. Mother-in-law said she can't even look at her and asked me, who is this person? I told her that she's still her daughter, and I think we both know that she's struggling right now and she really needs to keep a close eye on her. Mother-in-law said that Emily cried late into the morning and passed out finally. She said that father-in-law was talking me for breaking his little girl's heart. Mother-in-law defended me, but didn't tell father-in-law the truth about his daughter being a sugar baby. He's not gonna like that very much. She says she doesn't know how to have that conversation with him because it will crush him. I told her that she and her daughter need to go into therapy and maybe even seek medical professional. Then take father-in-law to the therapist with them and talk about it there. She says they've been talking to a Christian counselor. I asked her if he has training or does he just read from the Bible, and she said he has training. I told her to go see someone who has access to a prescription pad too. My lawyer told me that if I spoke to anyone from Emily's side, to encourage her to write an affidavit about John. I told my lawyer that it's kind of cold to try to get me to help her in Lisa's divorce right now, but my lawyer said the affidavit would help me too. So I told Emily's mom that if Emily wants to get back at John, that she needs to write the affidavit so that Lisa can, go after John in her divorce. So I guess we're pretty much stuck until they find a new lawyer. But you already know, we got all the updates in the world coming your way. Let's hydrate first though. I'm drinking water. You already know the drill. Cheers. Drink some water too. It's good for you. Next update. So right off the bat, Emily's fine. She's at home resting. She basically pulled a poison gas attack on our old neighborhood. But other than that, we're all good. I'm gonna need some more details on that. I was reading at the Airbnb on Sunday around 6 p.m. when I got a call from my dad in Florida. He said that our old neighbors called him and they thought there was an electrical fire at our house, but then they saw Emily burning things on our outdoor grill in the backyard. I called up Emily's mom and told her what was going on, and she thought Emily was in her room. Apparently, the whole family has been avoiding each other lately, so they didn't notice her slip out and drive off. I told them that Emily was at our old house burning things on the backyard grill and that the neighbors were complaining. They said that they would come. I decided to go over there myself and I called the police, the non-emergency number, and I told them that we had a small accident in the backyard, but everything is okay and we have it under control. I didn't want Emily arrested for her family's sake. She is already costing them a lot of money. Well, that's thoughtful of you. As to how she got in, yes, we evicted her, but the locks hadn't been changed. I thought my dad was going to arrange that, and my dad thought that I was going to do it. I have since changed the locks myself. I got there before Emily's parents and the smell was awful. It was this sharp chemical smell, and it was no surprise that people thought it was an electrical fire. I ran into the kitchen and got the fire extinguisher from under the sink and scared the crap out of Emily by rushing out, shouting at her to get the F out of the way, and blasting the barbecue grill thoroughly with the extinguisher. She just stood there, surprised to see me. Like setting a fire had summoned me like Smokey the Bear. She was in the process of burning her designer wardrobe, her bags, a bunch of lingerie outfits, shoes, makeup, etc. Girl, donate it to us instead. We don't need to burn that. We'll take it. There was stuff piled up next to the grill and expensive boutique shopping bags. I brought her around the side of the house to the front yard to escape the poison. I asked her what in the holy hell she was thinking of trying to burn the house down. It occurred to me right then that this was the first time we had been alone since the day I had her served. She was a mess. No makeup, dark circles under her eyes, hair up in a messy bun. Literally me this morning. The lighting is helping me big time. She rushed forward and got me in a hug, and I just stood there with my hands to the side looking away. After she got it out of her system, she told me that she was cleaning house and getting rid of everything that he touched. She said she was trying to make things right. I told her it is not going to get me to reconciliation. She asked me what she could do and that she would do anything. I told her that it's not fair for her to deliberately smash our marriage into pieces and then expect me to fix it, and that I couldn't even if I wanted to. I told her that she sacrificed our marriage for her business and that it would be a slap in the face to me personally if she let it go belly up, so she needs to go back to work. I don't know if that registered with her. I really hope it did. She kept apologizing and pleading and asking me to give her a chance and that I won't have to do anything. She'll fix our marriage and she'll do all the work necessary. Father-in-law told me that he would pay for the grill and any cleanup, and I thanked him for his generosity. He added a small update to this. Mother-in-law says Emily found and is paying for a new attorney. She confirmed that Emily is in counseling and attending Sunday and Wednesday services. Emily confessed to the affair with family and friends as far as it not being a coerced thing. She says it was a willful affair, but not that she was a sugar baby. She's painting it as a typical affair type thing, for lack of a better term. You know, I don't like cheaters and I don't agree with cheating. I'm happy to hear she's in counseling because I understand you make a mistake and that could very much eat you alive and you could struggle mentally. So I'm just happy that she's in counseling and, you know, getting the help that she needs through this mistake. The next update came 17 days later, April 25th, 2025. We're catching up to real time. I unblocked Bev's husband and I messaged him. We're only acquainted with each other due to our wives, so after some talk about surface level stuff, I asked him how he's doing with Bev. He said he thought something was up because he would see her texting and laughing. He thought she might be having an emotional affair because she's always at home with their toddler. He was dreading confronting her about it after getting the text that he did. She confessed to it and basically lived vicariously through it because Emily was talking about their fancy dates, Emily's spa trips, hotel room service, John taking her to boutiques that don't have price tags on the items. Every time Emily would cry and feel guilty, Bev admitted to encouraging her to have one last big fling of fun before settling down and becoming a mostly stay-at-home mom like her, and telling her that I would divorce her if I found out. Well, Bev was right about that. She deserved this, blah, blah, blah. Basically being an enemy of our marriage. Bev's husband rightfully figured that if Bev could do this, she could cheat on him. He told Bev he was divorcing her, but Bev put on the full court press, deleting her social media, blocking Emily, and swearing never to talk to her again. Full access to phone, computer, etc. She booked therapy for them and paid for it by starting to work part-time again. Bev's husband consulted an attorney and was basically told that he would lose a lot of money and she would probably get majority custody because what she did didn't constitute adultery or infidelity, so it would be a no-fault divorce. Yeah, I assumed that. She wasn't the one who physically cheated. Since her only infraction was having my wife be her favorite reality TV show, Bev's husband decided to stay and work on the marriage because he didn't want to lose access to his son. He said that Emily and Bev have not been in contact and Bev has deleted most of her social media and has a Facebook account with only her family on it. He said he doesn't trust her as much anymore, but that they are working on it. What do you guys think? Do you think that he should stay with Bev? Was that a big issue or was that something you could look past? Just curious. Curious where you stand. On to the lawyer stuff. We got an offer from Emily's new attorney. Emily wanted another face-to-face meeting, but I declined. If Emily cheats again, emotionally, physically, digitally, I get 75% of our liquid assets and half of her business profits for the past 3 years prior to the adultery, not exceeding $100,000. If I cheat, it's a no-fault divorce and we split everything up 50-50. No alimony either way. She'll pay for my attorney and hers out of her business profits and reimburse the $10,000 emergency fund. Post-nut becomes void if we stay together for 10 years without infidelity, which feels ambitious considering the first 10 years included the erotic Saks Fifth Avenue rewards program. If voided, both parties waive future claims to assets or alimony tied to this agreement. Emily agrees to full financial disclosure, including bank statements, business financials, credit reports, and any business relationships with John. All financial disclosures will be kept with my lawyer or some other third party of my choice. Total mutual access to all electronic devices with no prior notice for 7 years. This is too much. Just split up. Any hidden or burner devices invoke the infidelity clause. If we do divorce after this agreement, she waives all rights to spousal support unless I died tragically while doing something heroic. Weekly individual and couples counseling, minimum 12 months and paid by her, with a therapist selected by me and approved by the State Bar Association, the Vatican, and my group chat. Capped at $10,000. No contact whatsoever with AP, affair partner, and any of his businesses. If a wedding happens at his venue, she sends one of her stylists instead. Emily, you're just really trying for reconciliation here. I don't think he's gonna take it, my dear. My lawyer said it's a good deal, and she doesn't know a judge that wouldn't enforce it. She said if I was at all hesitant about not staying in the marriage, it's one of the best post-nups she's seen as far as judicial enforceability goes. Just to be clear, I rejected it. I figured. I told my lawyer that the bottom line is these are my non-negotiables. She has to agree to an at-fault adultery divorce on the record, no alimony, I keep my 401k. I would prefer for her to pay my attorney fees. Everything else is negotiable. As far as everything outside of lawyer cage match goes, Lisa is still divorcing John. Emily gave over her affidavit, which helped, and she additionally offered to testify if needed. Oh, now there's a show I would watch. Emily going to testify in John and Lisa's divorce. His what? Wild. John's kids don't want to go visit him, and he's trying to spin it that Lisa is deliberately alienating them. Lisa is encouraging them to have a relationship with their father because he's a good, supportive, and attentive dad, always attending their events and helping them with their studies, etc. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are talking again, as predicted. They were both very disappointed and embarrassed by Emily's behavior. My lawyer told me that if I want to expedite things, I should abandon my no contact policy and handwrite Emily a letter explaining in detail why reconciliation is off the table. I think I'll have to do that.
How does she not get it?
You've only said it 1,900 times. Why do we have to go back and forth so much? The next update came May 2nd, 2025. I got my lawyer to look over the letter. She approved it. I hand wrote it on paper and then had a courier deliver it to Emily's parents' house yesterday with delivery confirmation. She's got it and it's been radio silent except for mother-in-law texting me that Emily got my letter and is crying her eyes out. We have sent our divorce terms to Emily and her lawyer. They are pretty much the same thing we said before. No spousal support. We keep our respective retirement funds. Other joint accounts are split 50-50. This one hurts. We have investment accounts, but my lawyer and I conceded this to expedite matters. It is an adultery divorce. $10,000 reimbursement of our emergency fund. $15,000, half of the credit card charges for fraud. I give up all claims to half of her business. Even though it's an LLC, we consistently used marital funds and of course the stolen emergency fund to fund her business. She gives up all claims to my dad's home. There's some other stuff regarding joint marital property in our home. A bunch of people are saying that this is fake because a lawyer would never let me write a breakup letter to the person you are divorcing. First, Emily has delayed all negotiations consistently by refusing to acknowledge divorce. She consistently rebutted our attempts to settle this by replying with some kind of reconciliation plan. I have had no meaningful conversations with Emily since I served her divorce papers. I have said nothing of substance to her other than what I have said when I confronted her when she was making a burnt offering to the fashion gods. Yes, when she was burning all of it on the barbecue. I'm no lawyer, maybe my lawyer sucks, but this is how it was explained to me. In the state I live in, clear communication of intent, such as no reconciliation, can streamline negotiations by setting boundaries. A formal letter sent via courier serves as evidence of my position, reducing ambiguity in court or mediation. Divorce lawyers, at least in my state, often recommend written statements to clarify a client's stance, especially when the other spouse's actions, such as Emily's workplace visits, constant texts, offers of reconciliation all the time, suggest denial or manipulation. The letter acts as a legal marker showing my consistent refusal to reconcile, which courts respect in fault-based cases. This also preempts Emily's attempts to further delay by offering reconciliation terms, forcing her to focus on settlement. Emily's adultery gives me leverage in equitable distribution. The letter reinforces her fault by detailing her betrayal and pressuring her to concede terms to avoid a public trial where her actions would be scrutinized. Also, Emily's lawyer is collaborating with her therapist to address emotional barriers to settlement and has been very vocal about it with my lawyer. My lawyer said the letter was a way to satisfy Emily's therapy-driven need for closure while advancing my legal goals. Another update came May 8th, 2025. My mother-in-law has informed me that Emily is getting help in an intensive outpatient program for her anxiety and depression. So basically, she works during the day and then goes there afterwards for a few hours. It was arranged by her parents working together with her attorney. I think that's best. Like, not even being rude, I genuinely think that's best. Next update, May 18th, 2025. Emily has started the intensive outpatient program at a local mental health facility. I just learned from mother-in-law that Emily is going to agree to my terms. We are nearing the end. Father-in-law and mother-in-law want to pay my lawyer fees as well. This is great news, but my mother-in-law told me that, number one, in order to help her therapy, Emily wants to read me a statement about her affair and apologize to me while taking accountability for what she did entirely. This is, of course, after we sign and notarize everything. We can have a conversation after she reads her statement if I wish. This is not conditional. I mean, it's not a part of the divorce agreement. It would be a tactic and an informal agreement on my part, but not legally binding in any way. What I'm saying is that I can just walk out if I want to after everything is signed. I think I'll take the opportunity to talk to her, especially if she's willing to sign everything. I think it's appropriate for being together for so long, and maybe we should at least say goodbye formally. Number two, she wants to make an agreement with me entirely and completely separate from the divorce agreement. She wants to meet with me in 1 year's time with a mediator and a counselor for a couple of hours. She and her parents have put $7,500 in escrow for it. They told me that they would pay for the therapist and mediator. All I have to do is show up and participate in a good faith manner and I will get $7,500. This is entirely optional. There's no penalty for me not showing up other than not getting the $7,500. I'm so confused by that, but okay. $7,500 is a lot of money. I think as long as my lawyer looks it over and there's no gotchas or hidden BS, I'll sign it. Maybe in 1 year, I'll be desperate for that $7,500. I'm assuming our lawyers will work out a meeting time next week for signing everything. We have reached the final update. Wow, what a journey it's been. The final update, here we go. So Emily and I met at my lawyer's office. Both her lawyer and my lawyer were there, as well as a notary. Mother-in-law was in the waiting room. Emily and I were in the conference room signing papers, getting them notarized. Emily had some papers that she was reading from. It was a confession of everything. All right, so that was that. They signed the papers and then he actually posted on Reddit June 19th, very, very recently, saying June 10th was his wedding anniversary. He went out for drinks with friends and then he read through Emily's statement where she had confessed all the details about the entire affair. I wouldn't suggest doing that on your wedding anniversary after some drinks. I feel like that's a pretty miserable birthday. But hey man, kudos to you. The story is done. The chapter is closed. The papers are frickin' signed. That's all we got for now. That's it. I feel like we might hear from him again though. Maybe in a year's time. Let me know your thoughts on this. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.